in the affirmative. So this report has since been adopted.
Indeed, Pauline, and after that the House went on to consider a motion that has been moved by Pemba Member of Parliament, Mr. Lamek Hamwata, where the motion is urging that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism on private sector participation in the energy sector for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 13th June 2025. Just now, take you to the floor of the House.
The bells are still ringing. A quorum has not yet been constituted for the business of the House to continue. It is a requirement that 1/3 of the House has to be present for business of the House to continue in this House. The bells will ring until a quorum has been constituted. And still under consideration is a motion that has been moved by Mr. Lamek Hamwata, Member of Parliament for Pemba, and this motion urges the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism on private sector participation in the energy sector for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 13th June 2025. And this motion has been seconded by Mr. Binwa Mpundu, Member of Parliament for Nkana, and a number of members of Parliament are still adding their voice to this motion that is under consideration. And just before the break, we had the Minister of Energy, Honorable Makoso Chikote, who was adding his voice to this motion. We cross back the floor of the House. Good afternoon.
Order. When business was suspended, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honourable Member for Pemba that this House adopts a report of the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism on private sector participation in the energy sector for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 13th June 2025. And the Honourable Minister of Energy was debating. May the Honourable Minister continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before we went for break, Mr. Speaker, I was highlighting transmission projects that have been listed in the integrated resource plan, which are at various stages of preparation and development to address the transmission constraints. Mr. Speaker, I just mentioned the Peninsula Mansa 330 kV transmission line project, which will increase the transmission capacity in Luapula province in order to meet the projected increase in terms of power demand. And this project is expected to be commissioned by 2028. Mr. Speaker, Kasama Porokoso 330 kV transmission project. This will also help to facilitate the power from Kalungwishi and the Lufugu hydropower project and other potential generation projects in the northern circuit. Also, Mr. Speaker, we have the Kafiwe West Muzuma 330 kV transmission project. This also will help to move power from 300 megawatts, Mamba Phase 2, and the other potential generations plants in the core belt projects that are being done. And this transmission project is expected to be commissioned 2027. Mr. Speaker, the 330 kV Lusaka West Kabwe step down transmission line. This project will increase the transmission capacity to Copperbelt and the Northwestern Province to meet the rising demand of power due to the projected increase in the copper production. So this project is also expected to be commissioned in 2027, Mr. Speaker. Also, Mr. Speaker, we are putting Zambia-Tanzania interconnector. This will be interconnect the Southern African Power Pool to the Eastern African Power Pool, and is expected to be commissioned by 2028.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, with regard to Ndola Energy, the government has taken note of the observation and recommendation by your committee. To this effect, the government has constituted a team to discuss and negotiate the current agreement to make sure that Ndola Energy is able to take advantage of the open access framework that is in place, this government has put in place.
Indeed.
To conclude, Mr. Speaker,
No, it's Madam Speaker.
to conclude, Mr. Speaker, government is committed,
Very committed.
under electricity open access framework to increase private sector participation in the generation, transmission, and the distribution of electricity. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Feira raised some issues that Honourable Minister of Tourism should respond to it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, arising from the comments raised by Honourable Member for Feira with regards to the tourism sector on account of a few issues raised, such as the marketing of the Victoria Falls, which is presumed to be marketed out of Zambia, or is it South Africa itself, and Zimbabwe and Zambia not benefiting. Mr. Speaker, I just want to indicate to you that Zambia, being a party to the Africa AFCTA, we have agreed with our colleague neighboring countries, Mr. Speaker, that the days of competition are no more. We are looking at collaboration. And as such, Mr. Speaker, the advertising of a shared resource, which is the Victoria Falls, which we all know is 1.7, spans 1.7 kilometers, of which 1.3 kilometers of that span is in Zambia. We have had discussions with our colleagues from Zimbabwe to see how we can market the destination. Mr. Speaker, against unpopular assertions that are suggesting that people do not actually visit Zambia, Mr. Speaker, just last year, Mr. Speaker, Zambia exited its 2024 tourism numbers in excess of 2.199 million international arrivals, Mr. Speaker, which was obviously well above what we saw recorded in Zimbabwe. Now, why am I saying that, Mr. Speaker? It's purely on the basis that in as much as this is marketed in one particular destination, I'm of the firm belief that there's no such thing as bad publicity. As much as people are flying into South Africa as a hub, Mr. Speaker, they eventually land in Zambia to actually come and see the marvel of Musotunya Victoria Falls. Mr. Speaker, another issue that was raised was pertaining to the national parks not promoting tourism, as it were. I'll give an example, Mr. Speaker, of the constituency which my colleague comes from, which is Feira. Just this year, Mr. Speaker, government, through the Minister of Tourism, did declare that it was going to be supporting, a ceremony, the crossing of the Ngoni people from where they were running away from. up to where they were going to, which was happening within that particular area in Fera, Mr. Speaker. And I am on record, Mr. Speaker, suggesting that that particular ceremony or commemoration of that ceremony will be done every single year. Mr. Speaker, the colleague member of Parliament was actually there with me when I was making that pronouncement. Mr. Speaker, another issue which I believe was raised was the issues of my operators who have quote-in-quote offshore accounts. Mr. Speaker, I just want to indicate to you that the government of the Republic of Zambia, through the Minister of Finance, has implemented what we call the export proceeds tracking framework, which was implemented in January of 2024. Now, this is an export tracking framework that will be tracking goods and services, trade in services that are actually earned from outside this particular country. So, Mr. Speaker, indeed, government is not sitting idle. We are working on the exact amount of money that which we are generating out of the tourism sector. And I want to indicate to you, Mr. Speaker, and probably use this opportunity, that the tourism sector is on the rise. We can only but support the sector itself, and we would like to encourage a number of us Zambians who are sitting in here, especially you parliamentarians, indeed ourselves, and anyone who's listening to us, that we need to invest in what I would like to call a sector that only gives, it never takes away. So, Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Pemba, wind up debate.
Thank you so much. May I take this opportunity to thank the Honourable Member for Nkana, who seconded, the Honourable Member for Kamfinsa, Chama, and Fela. Further, may I take this opportunity to thank the Minister acting for clarifying on the issue of reflective tariffs, which the government is progressively implementing. Mr. Speaker, I also take opportunity to thank the Minister of Tourism, who actually took time to explain on a number of issues pertaining to issues brought by the member of Kafisa and Fela. However, I wish to indicate that your committee is dealing with the Minister of Energy, Minister of Water and Development, Sanitation, Tourism. But this time around, we were looking at the issue to do with electricity. We have not dealt with the issue of tourism, and I wish to put it on record. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that the House adopts a report of the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism in the private sector participation in the energy sector for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 13th June 2025. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Her Honor the Vice President, adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House adjourns now.
The question is that the House now adjourns. Any debate, any objection? The question is agreed to. The House? Is now adjourned.
Adjourned. And we quickly take you through some of the business that has been considered before we cross over to the Committee on Local Government Accounts. So when business resumed at about 14:30 hours, Madam Speaker did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from St. Monica's Girls' School in Lusaka and the Chinese International School in Lusaka. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
And after those two announcements, the House went on to consider questions for oral answer, and there were 5 total. And in one of the questions, question 319 came from Bawara Member of Parliament, Mr. Joseph Musanje, and he directed his question to the Minister of Health and wanted to know what measures the government has put in place to make the country epidemic prepared. And in response to this question, the minister did inform the House that in a way of preparing for the epidemics, the country has set up health institutions. It has also done national health preparedness response plans and also risk assessment profiling, as well as capacity building, which is also to enhance capabilities to respond to international disease spread, as some of the measures that have been put in place by government.
Another question that was considered is question 322, which came from Ms. Sibongile Mwamba, who is Kasama Central Member of Parliament. Her question was directed to the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. She wanted to know whether government has any plans to construct a police post in Mukonge Chiefdom in Kasama district, and the minister did respond that government has plans. And she wanted to know if so, when the plans will be implemented. The minister did respond that when the process of securing land from the traditional leaders is concluded and what the time frame for the completion of the project is, the minister did state that government has a standard design with a completion time frame of ranging from 4 months to 18 months. Part D fell off, alluding to the answers that were given by the minister.
And we had another question coming from Chadiza Member of Parliament, Mr. Jonathan Daka, and he directed his question to the Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts. He wanted to know whether government has any plans to construct a youth skills development training center in Chadiza, and Part B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. Part C, what the estimated cost of the project, and Part D, if there are no plans, why. And in response, the minister did indicate to the House that government has plans to construct in almost all the 116 districts, to construct these youth skills training centers. However, government has no immediate plans to construct one in Chadiza, and when the plans will be implemented, as indicated, there are no immediate plans, and the estimated cost of putting up a youth skills training development center, the minister informed the House that there are 2 costs that are involved. In the first one is a basic skills training center, which costs an estimate of 5 million to 10 million, and the second one is a well-equipped skills training center, which may cost between 30 to 60 million kwacha.
And so those are just some of the questions for oral answer, understanding Order 80 that the House has considered. The House went on to consider 2 motions. The first motion was moved by Mr. Kasauta Michelo, who is Wengo, a Member of Parliament. In the motion, he was urging that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources on the ratification of the International Agreement on Fisheries Subsidies under the World Trade Organization for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 13th June 2025. This motion was seconded by Mr. Michael Katambo, and when a question was put, this motion was resolved.
The last question under consideration on the floor was moved by Member of Parliament, Mr. Lamek Hamwata, and he urged the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism on the private sector participation in the energy sector for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House. on Friday, 13th June 2025. And this motion was seconded by Mr. Binwa Mpundu, Member of Parliament for Nkana. And of course, after a debate, a motion was put and it was resolved in the affirmative. The motion has also been adopted by the House. So briefly, that was business of the House this afternoon. And just now we cross over to the Committee on Local Government Accounts, who are considering the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Funds for the financial year ended 31st December, and expected to appear this afternoon before this committee. Next submissions is always the Town Council, Manyinga Town Council. So for now, we leave you with the Committee on Local Government Accounts. Good afternoon.
Shown in the table. Sidmark Operation Limited, the bid sum was 1,349,445. Woodmead Business Systems Limited, 1,260,922,9.90. Imperial Contractors Fungare Investments Limited. This chair is the last stage of the evaluation, and at this point, to select a bidder is just looking at the price. And the least, the one whose price is the lowest, should be the one to be awarded. Why was Sidmark, who was almost was higher than Woodmead Business Systems, not awarded the contract? Because all these, the
first question, you have asked a very good question, and I don't give him information. First, we want to ask, is it true that the consideration is given to the lowest bidder? In principle?
Yes, to this last stage.
No, don't say yes, it's him, I'm asking, Doc.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Now, why did you give Sidmark instead of Woodmead Business Systems, who are the lowest bid of 1,260,922.90?
Thank you, Chair. In the advert, there were two double-story buildings which were supposed to be.
We are talking about this one, Mushtara. Confined to Mushtara, as we want to deal with Mushtara.
Chair, Woodmead had already been awarded the contract for 1/2.
Is that by law that when I bid for this project, I cannot be considered because I've already won another? Why did I bid? Is that standard? Town Clerk.
Chair, maybe I request the indulgence of the head procurement.
Yes, procurement.
Chair, during our bidding process for this one, there was a clause that if a bidder cannot be awarded two projects, so that
where is that clause?
So of course it is in the bidding document.
Can we see it?
So at this particular point, because the Woodmead had already been awarded.
No, sir. We are an evidence-based committee. We don't want to follow your stories. Those are stories. So where is it? Just show us the way we have taken you to this document. Just tell us that, look at this clause.
So, Chair, apologies, we've not carried the bidding document.
So want us to follow your verbal submission? We could have phoned you from Solowezi if that is the story. We can't take that. We are following documentation here.
Apologies, Chair, for that.
It is not a standard. The fact is, it's not a standard. Can you switch off your mic? The standard is, if I'm able to get the best bid, I must be given, even if there are 10. If there's any clause, you're supposed to share with us. In this case, this contract is a bad contract. That's why we are following religiously. We want to demonstrate to you. And we are coming to you as procurement because you were at the helm of this. So why did you omit to give this Woodmead business?
Okay, next one. You've already confirmed that it was an error. It was a we can't call it a mistake, but look,
it was deliberate.
Woodmead was awarded which contract at Kikombe?
Yes, Chair.
Yes. The time that you were doing the bid evaluation for Mushtala, you had not yet done the bid evaluation for Kikombe.
True or false?
They were running concurrently, Chair. So we were...
How do you... No, the contracts are signed at different dates.
Hold on. We shall give you a chance.
The contracts are on different dates. So the
when you are signing the contracts, they are different.
Yes.
Mushtara came first.
The procurement committee will always consider project by project. The first one that was considered was Mushtara. Before you opened to do bid evaluation and recommendation for award for Kikombe, you did Mushtara, and you knocked out Woodmead, who was lower.
Let's end there, Doc.
Yes.
Let's just end there.
Yeah.
Unless what you are telling us that you had selected them before the process. Town Clerk, are you moving with us and your team?
Chair.
Mushtara was the first one. You opened Mushtara, you deal with it before you go to Kikombe. But now the procurement officer said, no. Why we left out Woodmead is because they were considered for Kikombe. But the issue, if you look at the contract dates, this one was evaluated and procured. The question is why? It's all questionable. Want to bring out questionable transactions. You can tell. Unless we believe you, what you are telling us, then you had selected them even when you are doing all these things. You had already selected, no, you hold on. We are not going to give you, even if you are the best evaluated for this one, we are going to give you Kikombe. Is that what you do, procurement? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So the way these projects were aligning was that at the time of the advert was flashed together. So we had set to evaluate for this particular project and so at this particular point we had already done for Kikombe, and Woodmead was already responsible there. Because in our bidding document we had put a clause to say a contractor cannot be awarded two projects. Hence these are contained in the bidding document that we have left, Chair. Apologies for that. Probably we can still email the document, the bidding document for the same.
You are at the center of this confusion. You are not a patriotic Zambian. Switch off your mic. Dr. Mwanza, let me ask also.
We go to Appendix 2, page IPC, and final to SIDMAC, because this what you can see on page.
Yes, we have already seen.
Now, let us follow on Appendix 2. There is a payment certificate.
Contract. Yes. After these bid documents.
Yes, after the bid documents. There's even just after site instruction report. There's a payment certificate in terms of the accounts, final settlement accounts. Are we there? Appendix 2.
This page what? They are numbered.
There's no number on this appendix, on this payment certificate. Actually, Appendix 2, it is page number 3. The document page number 3. Just one. After appendix, when you open page 2, then one page, then second page,
okay,
the third page. We will not discuss much, but I just want to highlight how financial flaws happened on this contract. The contract sum is 1,250,000 kwacha. Correct. Advance payment 25%. You paid 312,500,000. Correct. Then value of works done as per BOQ summary, which means the value of works done up to what you see on page 6, just up to slab level with those tubes that are coming out, was 481, 386, 81. Variation, or increase or decrease, there's an amount of variation here, which is 319, Chair.
550.
550. But the presentation, it says there was no variation on this contract. How do you explain this figure? 319, 550. You come back to explain later. But what the auditors picked was that the variation on page 3 of the presentation, the cost of variation was 663,744. On page 3.
Yes.
So
can we hear town clerk?
So these figures, these two figures, and also his statement that this contract, there was no variation that was given. Instead, they terminated the contract.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hear from them.
Chair, thank you so much. I will still ask the indulgence of the Director of Engineering, maybe also the further indulgence of the quantity surveyor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is the first payment and the last payment which was made for the project.
How do you explain the variation? Answer the question, my brother.
So the 319 is coming from the missed steel quantities which was in the substructure.
So it was an increase to the 1.25. It was an increase to the 1,250,000, right?
Yes, that's why the project was...
Yes or no?
So that is a variation.
Switch off the mic, Doc. Switch off the mic, Doc.
That is a variation, okay?
Doc. Sir, the scope of works was 1,250,000. The first contract. Without steel. Is it correct?
Steel was part of the... It was under-quantified, Chair.
No wonder you're on suspension.
I wanted to suggest the officer is on suspension, possibly arising from these activities, and the project now is complete. So if
the opportunity that we go back to reconcile and have a contract, the final settlement account be settled according to what was spent on site. This is just one error on the IPC. Value of works, which you need to go back and verify. The second one is the less fixed discount. The discount that SIDMAC gave to council, was it 99,445 or it was 44,269? Because this is what is in the IPC.
Doc, let me manage the meeting. Switch off your mic. Town clerk, we have a serious problem. But the consolation is that some of you are appearing before law enforcement agencies or you are on suspension. And if you are on suspension, I don't know why the commission has taken long from 2023 to date. Then we are not doing justice to this country. We are lucky they are coming tomorrow. We have already made our submission to the committee. What the committee is establishing on this is a serious fraud. From the first question, 236,000 kwacha discount. Who requested for the discount? Did the council request for the discount? Or just the contractor himself feared that I think we have done enough. This is overboard.
Maybe the answer.
Town clerk, did we request for the discount from a contract?
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, sometimes it becomes difficult to answer on matters that you were not there, but I'll still ask the indulgence of the Director of Engineering and the other officers that were there.
Town clerk, you are on no. I agree with you. Especially that, who was the town clerk before you?
Chair is...
I agree with you. But we want to highlight to the people of Solwezi and the people of Zambia that this was serious fraud taking place. To a point where the same director would initiate, sign everything. It tells you a story. Whether this building or this project is complete, it is sad to the vision carrier of the enhanced CDF. It's sad to the people of Solwezi that you can be using this project to siphon money. Is not correct. So we can ask questions on this project. Questions. And we wonder, that's why I want to ask the Commission tomorrow. Morally, from 2023, these issues are there. And we feel bad when we hear headlines on Solwezi. But what we have realized is that all those councils where there is a lot of money, this is always the case. If you talk of Nakonde, if you talk of Solwezi, Kalumbira, is it Kalumbira? Kalumbira, mention all those. You will never see these problems in Imbala, in Imongu. You will never see these problems. But where there is money, this is the case. That's how I had to ask, are you a qualified engineer? If you're a qualified engineer, those omissions on the BOQs, you know, the contractor is starting a project, town clerk. You don't need to be an engineer or a rocket scientist. A double-story building will have steel. And this, he says, the steel were not enough, reinforcement of steel. These were enough to start the base. And if 319,000 kwacha was a variation, for what? Initially, the 1.2 million had no variation. That was the initial contract. And he is the one who signed this contract. He wanted to pass his back to another person, that those who were there after me, when he's the one who signed the scope of works. And this is Mishtara. Let's go to the other one. Same.
Chair.
Same, we cannot get anything on the two. We go to other questions.
Yes, Chair. Chair, as we are going to those, the town clerk, other than in Solwezi Municipal Council, where else in any other local authority in Zambia where a contractor has ever given a discount? Would you know of any?
Chair, not to my knowledge.
Doc, you were interrogating these technical issues on people.
I just want to understand that the project at Kikombe and Mushitala, they were running concurrently. And Chair, the cost estimates, the situations, how the projects went, they're exactly
same variations,
different
same
contractors, but same style. Even the IPC for Kikombe has got a lot of arithmetic errors. That government lost so much money on that final settlement account, which we believe that it is better to follow up, because the contractors are still
we shall
there.
make recommendations. That's what I've said.
Yes,
we hold on.
exactly. Now, I just want to get one confirmation from the engineers. Your budget for the for this, what you call 2x3 double-story building, was in phases. The first phase of 1,250,000 kwacha was meant to construct the building from substructure up to first floor slab, right?
Yes.
Are we following?
You're going back to
now the point now. The this scope of work, just from substructure up to first floor slab, which means there are two slabs. There's one on the ground.
We know.
And then the first one. Okay. Then the second variation, which is in dispute, the one which he asked about 236% increase. The council, in the council's presentation, they are saying it's not a variation. It was the
change of scope.
No. To fund phase 2, which they advertised and then the contractor had to be, procured. So, Chair, the first phase, you lift the building up to first floor slab. Your budget is 1,250,000. Now, you are supposed to budget to do the superstructure just on top of the first floor slab now to build the walls and the columns and the roofing. The cost was 4 million. That is the source of that 236%
increment.
Which, even in the layman's language, two phases was higher than the other. Phase 1.
Engineer, we have explained. Engineer, which one of the two phases would cost more?
Chair, I would wish to confirm that the 3,066,400, which was prepared by the quantity surveyor, was from slab level to finish.
Which phase would cost more? Without looking at figures, which phase would cost more?
So that's what I'm saying. It was from slab level after the project was terminated. The 3 million was now the requantification from slab level up to finish, because the whole money is the 1.2 and not. It was terminated halfway through the project, so only 800 was used up to that level. Then there was the 3 million, which was
Let's make progress. We need to make progress, but the idea what you picked, TC, is that Kikombe and Mushtara, whatever was happening, same, but different contractors. All those things were happening. It was a systematic arrangement, even contract award. So all the people who are involved, from procurement, audit, should be singled out. Who was the director of finance?
Chair, it's the lady behind.
Okay. Who was the auditor?
Chair, he resigned.
Who was the procurement?
Chair, she's here, the one who was sent to Mongo. Chair, maybe just wish to, the head procurement just came in last year. So even as he was answering, he was just out of perpetual succession, not that he was there at the time of the evaluation and the
Thank you, Town Clerk. Now, let's go to another question, which is the issue of irregular payments is also in court. Is it in court? Irregular payment, not irregular payment of variation, but irregular withdrawal is on page what?
Yeah, page 24.
Yes, page 24. Let's go to page 24. Yes, page 24. Irregular, this is irregular VAT. Page 23.
It starts from 23 to 24.
Oh, irregular cash withdrawals to the tune of 507,281. Is this matter in court?
Chair, the officer was suspended and is under investigation amongst the other special audit report that was
Then we can't. Irregular VAT, irregular charge of VAT. Who was the Director of Finance?
Chair, the lady behind me.
So this entire report, it was the people who are on suspension.
Yes, Chair.
It gives us a problem, because this is, if we have been describing some reports to be bad, this is the mother of the worst reports. All these issues, before the auditors or before this committee could meet the people, save for the other one who was transferred when she was supposed to be part of the people to be suspended. Because we are being unfair to the people of Solwezi. We are being unfair to the people of Zambia. We are being unfair to the government of the day. What was happening and what is happening now is quite unfortunate. With the wisdom that I get from these committee members, we read this report, as we always do. It's a very bad report. Town Clerk, I can just cancel you and your team. You who are there in Solwezi, stop this. I always tell people that we are not the best. The best is to leave a legacy, a name, wherever you are. But this report, those who were involved with this report will not see heaven. Because the people of Solwezi have suffered. Whether you say this project is now complete, the value, this project, we helped so many areas, money is saved, but monies went like this. We just pray, if there are cases which are before law enforcement, they should move. If they have not reported to law enforcement, it's just administrative things that are taking long at the commission, we shall bring them out. But this town clerk needs for serious investigations by SCC, DEC, so that these people who are involved in this, if he found wanting, should be brought to book and served as an example. That when you have this opportunity to serve in these positions, you should do the correct thing for the betterment of this country. Today I'm here. If I'm going to condone this, support this, just put it under the carpet, then I'm wrong of Parliament. Yesterday I was where you are. Today I'm here. Tomorrow I will not be here. These members of Parliament will not be here. We want to leave a legacy. Solwezi, you are not doing very well. Town clerk, put the house in order. Do not at all, whether you are tempted, allow such things to repeat. Whether there are people who are coming to office to patronize you, can you do this? It's sad. We saw Kalumbira, just contracts, 25,000 kwacha per kilometer bush clearing. Where is our moral compass? The president is working very hard to change this country. So we cannot continue like that. So for this one, So we cannot continue because most of them are already appearing. Town clerk, where you are, don't trust anyone. Don't. Whether they are close to you, they're doing very well, don't trust. Director engineering, don't trust anyone. All of you, procurement, don't trust anyone. Know that you are coming alone in that position. Tomorrow, you go alone. Director of finance, don't trust anyone, do the best. You are there for work. All of you officers, individually, trust the system. So whereas the council is not doing very well in loan recoveries, and yet you are the #1 in Northwestern Province. District councils are performing very well. So we can go on and on. We are deflated. We cannot continue. We are praying, and it's our prayer that when we meet the commission today, we put our position very clear to the Minister of Law Government. It will not be business as usual. This committee is not tough. We are following what auditors are bringing to this committee. We don't manufacture them. All we are reading is this. So know that this committee is very innocent but very patriotic to the country. We want to help government, we want to help Madam Speaker so that order comes to local government. As far as we are concerned, we shall do that. The immunity that was earlier conferred on you, Town Clerk, as we wish you well, is hereby withdrawn. As you go back, continue working very hard so that the image of Solowezi is changed. It's a bad image. We thank you so much and God bless you as you go back.
Solowezi Town Council has made their submission before the Committee on Local Government Accounts. This is in which they are considering the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2023. And still to make an appearance before the committee is Manyinga Town Council. Keep watching Parliament Television, the only station that brings Parliament closer to you.
Did you know the proposed amendments to the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, Amendment Bill 2025, also aim to revise the number of constituencies and wards? Zambia's population has grown, but the number of constituencies has remained the same. This means some areas are now too large and people's needs aren't being fully met. The limitations help to ensure fair distribution of resources based on population size. By increasing the number of constituencies, rural areas can receive more Constituency Development Fund (CDF) support. For example, if one area is split into two, it means 2 new schools or hospitals, because each constituency now gets its own share of funding and infrastructure. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Justice, Government of the Republic of Zambia. Did you know the proposed amendments to the Constitution of the Republic